The Spinoff Podcast Network.
Lowe's knows how to freshen up your yard, and it all starts with mulch. That's why we're introducing Mulch Week during Springfest with can't-miss savings. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. Plus, members earn 5 times the points on select mulch purchases all week long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/9. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Kia ora koutou, this is Toby Manhire, host of the Spinoff Politics podcast Gone by Lunchtime. Join me with Ben Thomas and Annabelle Lee Mather for a special live pod event, April the 9th in Auckland at Q Theatre. We'll have bells and whistles and animals and children and special guests all gathered to discuss the state of the coalition government halfway through the term. That's April 9, Q Theatre. Tickets are available now from thespinoff.co.nz/events.
I think after I watched Adolescence, I couldn't sleep, so I watched Married at First Sight, which is just as scary, but not quite as, didn't quite leave me with such a deep pit of worry.
Talofa lava, I'm Madeline Chapman, editor of The Spinoff. Welcome to Behind the Story, where I go behind the scenes of a big article on the Spinoff from the week. If you want a weekly rundown of some of the best reads from the Spinoff every Saturday, make sure you sign up to the weekend newsletter. Today I'm talking to staff writer and Rec Room editor Tara Ward. As the premier local TV writer at the Spinoff, Tara spends a good chunk of her time thinking about what's going on our screens and why. This year has gotten off to a roaring start with the big hitters of television returning, like Severance, White Lotus and Handmaid's Tale, as well as new trendsetters like Adolescence. Tara's been across it all, but will always have time for local and enduring gems like Shortland Street and Country Calendar. Here's Tara Ward on Behind the Story. Kia ora Tara, welcome back to Behind the Story.
Kia ora, thank you for having me.
I want to just get straight into it, as you are our premier local television reviewer and writer, and I feel like 3 months into the year there does seem to be this quite, despite everything going on in the world, this quite positive vibe going on when it comes to TV and film everywhere, that people are like, finally we've got our big fun kind of water cooler shows back, like Severance, White Lotus, that sort of thing. Do you feel that, as someone who's kind of keeping an eye on TV and movies constantly, does it feel like it's picking up?
Yeah, I think we're sort of coming out of that lull from COVID-19 and the writers' strike, and lots of that sort of big prestige TV coming out this year. As you say, we've had Severance, we've had White Lotus, Adolescence, and then this month we've got Black Mirror and The Handmaid's Tale and The Last of Us. So those big premium shows are coming back, which is great because, you know, they are the sort of the powerhouses of television. They get people talking and sharing the TV at the same time. So it's so good to see them coming back.
I know I was about to say it was last year, but was it the year before that After the Party came out? And that was like the New Zealand kind of powerhouse. You know, we've got a big drama coming out weekly. Is there anything like that on the horizon for local viewers?
I think After the Party was so amazing. I think the New Zealand industry is going through lots of challenges. The stuff that is coming out is really good. I'm just, this week in Rec Room, we're talking about Happiness, which is a new sitcom on 3 that's a musical comedy, which is our first musical comedy, so something different. And there's a drama coming up later in the year called Tangata Pai, and it's a New Zealand drama set in Taranaki, and 30% of it is spoken to Te Reo Māori. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think that one might be the New Zealand drama of the year in terms of just sort of challenging things and pushing the boundaries and just making a really strongly identifiably New Zealand drama.
Cool. And you mentioned Adolescence before, which I think you probably knew that it was going to be big. There was a fair bit of promo from Netflix ahead of time, but it has really taken off. I mean, I was driving quite a lot last week, and the number of news items just on like the radio bulletins that jumped off Adolescence as like a hook to talking about something local. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that with a TV show just popping up in the news constantly. Yeah.
It's been a long time, I think, since the whole world has been taken by one TV show. I was thinking maybe was Tiger King the last one when we were all in lockdown. But I think Adolescence has just kind of exploded, and everyone's watching it at the same time. Everyone's talking about it at the same time. And on one hand, you've got this amazing TV show which is made so beautifully and acted so beautifully, and the writing's amazing. But it's also got this really relatable content that strikes a chord with absolutely everybody. And that's really unusual, I think. And so together, it's just like, I think, one of the most amazing shows I've seen for lots of different reasons. And I've gone down the rabbit hole about how they made it and how they did the drone shot and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost just like the perfect package, I hope they don't make a sequel or anything like that. It's just the perfect TV show on its own.
You wrote about it for Rec Room a couple of weeks ago, and it was quite funny because I remember it came out maybe on a Friday, and we were like, is everyone going to be over it by the next Friday? If we wait until next Friday for you to write about it, is that going to be too late? Clearly, absolutely not. When you were picking a show, because you basically can pick any show in the world technically to lead Rec Room, to be the number one review or recommendation. Though I suppose they're not always recommendations. They mostly are. How do you have kind of like a criteria? Like, is it local first, or has to reach a certain threshold of popularity? What's your kind of approach to deciding which show is going to be the one that you focus on that week?
Yeah, we do go for local first if we can. If there's a local TV or show or movie coming out, we kind of want to highlight local content as much as we can and be the place where people come to find out about it. But then there are shows like Adolescence and, the Meghan Markle show that kind of builds their own momentum, and you kind of have to talk about them. And like you say, a week can be quite a long time. You sort of wonder whether you've missed the boat with some TV shows, but with both of those, I mean, I think I could write about Adolescence today and it would still have, pull people in because people are just sort of obsessed with the show. So yeah, we do want to highlight local stuff and really champion what's going on in the local industry, but always there for those big Netflix hits.
And I was just saying before that I barely ever watch TV on TV, like broadcast television, and really the only times I do it when I'm either at my parents' or my partner's parents' house. And last weekend I was at my parents' house and we were watching Country Calendar, which I've read your writing about Country Calendar a number of times, and it's always extremely popular and really good. But I realised I'd never actually really watched it. And then I just got absolutely hooked halfway through an episode and ended up watching about 5 in a row about some lovely grape growers and, dairy farmers. When it comes to local viewing, that's an old show and it's still going really strong. It's excellently made. What does broadcast TV now look like if you are sitting down after dinner and you're going to watch 4 hours of TV?
It looks probably a little different than it has in the past. I notice there's a lot of kind of British lifestyle shows on TVNZ, a lot of reality on as well. Yeah, like shows like Shortland Street are still there. They are evolving and shifting to kind of keep the audience that they've got. I mean, Shortland Street this year has had quite a significant shift. They're now sort of evolved into a really sort of fast-paced, intense medical drama, which is quite different to the soap that people might have remembered Shortland Street as. Everything takes place in the hospital now. There's no sort of exterior sets or anything like that. So It's fighting hard and shifting, but Country Calendar is sort of different to that because it hasn't really changed over the 50 years. It's sort of still that gentle, beautifully made, beautifully photographed television show that sort of highlights what people are doing in New Zealand. And I think that's maybe why people love it, because it doesn't feel old-fashioned, but it's still got that familiarity for a lot of people on a Sunday night to sit down and watch it. I mean, it's consistently one of the top-ranking shows. So, good old Country Calendar, just a classic. Can't go wrong.
I mean, I have to mention a little throwback, which was one of the most controversial pieces you wrote, which was about one of the most controversial moments on Country Calendar, which was the lovely sheep getting a mattress to land on at the bottom of the chute.
People really got mad about those sheep landing on a mattress and being shorn while they listened to Vivaldi and beautiful classical music. It really struck a chord. And in a lot of ways, I don't know that episode was doing anything different than Country Calendar does, which is showing how some people do things differently, and are innovative and thinking outside the square. But it's just really struck a nerve with a lot of people.
I mean, I don't want to potentially put too much morality on a show that is 50 years old, but I did find while watching the show, I was like, it's really hard to watch this show and not gain an appreciation for all sorts of people and jobs and the way that they operate, and realizing that so many people are just out there trying to make it work and trying to, most of the time, be good bosses for the people that they employ and create nice environments at their work. And I think that it almost feels like the ultimate kind of almost medicine for something like Adolescence that just makes you kind of despair at the state of things.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone on Country Calendar is passionate about what they're doing. They put everything into it and are just trying to make their little corner of the country better, which is, as you say, it's a really lovely balm or tonic to while the rest of the world is burning.
Just to end, I'm quite interested in what your kind of, outside of work, you watch a lot of things in order to write about them, it is quite hard to separate being able to enjoy a show versus observing it and analysing it. So what are the things that you watch where you go, no matter what, this is just for me?
Probably a bit of reality TV, a bit of Real Housewives, can't go wrong. But I'm also sort of desperately clinging to this idea in my house that TV is supposed to be watched with other people. So I'm trying to watch shows with my kids. So I'm not that up to date with White Lotus. I'm a bit behind, but I'm up to date on things like Survivor Australia and travel guides and things like that. But I think reality TV is just sort of something you can dip into. I don't have to think too hard about it. I think after I watched Adolescence, I couldn't sleep, so I watched Married at First Sight, which is just as scary, but not quite as, didn't quite leave me with such a deep pit of worry.
And finally, this week, just purely based off this week, what would you recommend? What is something that's kind of either just come out on the horizon that you reckon people should give a go?
The show I watched last night is called Last One Laughing UK, which is on Prime Video, and it's an international format, but it's just come to Britain. And it's you put 10 British comedians in a house, which is a bit like Big Brother. There's cameras everywhere. They're there for 6 hours, and they're not allowed to laugh. So it's sort of a game of the comedians trying to make everyone else laugh without you laughing. It's completely ridiculous, totally pointless. Great British cast. If you like Taskmaster or the British panel shows, you'll love this. It's just so low stakes and silly that I loved it. Yeah.
Is that show 3 minutes long? How are they lasting 6 hours?
They get a yellow card and a red card, and then they're slowly eliminated. So they want to get them down to ones, and they try and do all these silly challenges and games to kind of deliberately get people to laugh. But it's a lot of just watching people do weird expressions with their faces, trying to suppress their laughter. Yeah.
That and Country Calendar, and you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you. That was Tara Ward on Behind the Story. I will be back next week with another spin-off writer and another spin-off yarn. Cheers, Tara.
The Spinoff Podcast Network.